HYPER Annotations 3.0. We have Galit Eilat. Thank you so much, Galit, for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. I'd like you to first ask you about how did you receive the theme of the 60th Venice Biennale?
When I read it first, it reminds me a museum of immigration, I think, in Brazil.
Yes.
When the narrative there, it's like that we are all immigrants.
Yes.
So they're going to the prehistory and they try to explain, of course, for the own cause of Brazil, with the history of Brazil, why we are all, there are no natives or no indigenous, yes, that we are all immigrate from one place to the other.
Yes.
I don't know why, it's like immediately click because this museum stayed with me from the time that I was there, you know, kind of what to do with this idea of we are all nomads or we're nomads and no one, you know, on the positive side that no one owned the land of, you know, people will like it or not, but the land it belongs to the land and not to us.
Yes.
But I don't think it's related very much to the topic of the biennial. So we are all foreigners or foreigners everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tempting. It's tempting to think that, you know, like especially for me, what it's tempting is to be a foreigner in your own land, in your own country. Yes. So to be
Yes.
stranger in your own place. So something that kind of talk to my own history or, you know, the way I feel in my own place.
I see, I see. And were there any particular works that called your attention around this theme or perhaps elicited that reaction in you?
So what I had in mind and what I saw, it's not always go together. And I think I was surprised and happy to see so many Brazilian artists.
Yes.
And also other artists that, you know, not usually have this exposure on the biennial. On the other hand, so you know, in the general kind of an approach to have more exposure to the global south at large, I think it's good. If Venice or Italy, it's the global north, it also can be more Levant or Mediterranean. But on the other hand, the question if Venice is still relevant in this sense,
Yes.
and if the national pavilions, like if we talk about Brazil, so Lisette Lignado, I think was, São Paulo Biennial was the second biennial, if I'm not mistaken, yes, after Venice. And she, when Lisette Lignado curates the São Paulo Biennial, she eliminates the national pavilions. And I think it was like a smart and a brave move. Yes, basically, I think her argument was, you know, country that has more money has a bigger presentation. Countries which are poor, with sometimes with better artists, yes, don't have this exposure and this attention. So I think this story also repeats and true for Venice. But Venice, as the contract as it is, yes. So we have the national presentation, which is something that it's kind of a monument to the past. Monument to the Expo exhibition and others, which I'm not sure in the way, and also what this exhibition propagates, it's still fitting. So
Yes.
we talk about foreigners, so still we're keeping like the national pavilions, even though today I curate in 2011 the Polish pavilion with the El Batana, with an Israeli artist in the Polish pavilion. So I think it was the second time after Num Pike, that was exhibited in the American pavilion, was the first pavilion that's showing not national artists or, you know, artists that won and carried the passport or the nationality.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. So today we have it much more. So it's less, it's more open, I would say. But the question if we still need the national pavilions, and also, you know, it's the national pavilions. It's the reason that we are here now, which is like the professional preview, yes, and at the same time to talk about accessibility, about openness, about accepting the other in different ways, and at the same time we don't have this access for the biennial itself. So it's kind of something that go against itself, or it's become not hold. It doesn't hold.
Yeah, that even the movement is not really accessible within it, right? In a way.
Yes, like if you walk, so you need to be fit.
Yes.
You must to be fit, like to go around the way, to go the Arsenale. Imagine that it's not just the visitor, also the curator. Imagine that it was, for the first time, not a curator that's marked by he or she a nationality or the region, but also to have people which has unable bodies or
Yes.
using a wheelchair.
Yes.
How one will navigate and how one will curate this biennial, and what about the public? It's
Yes.
impossible. It's impossible to walk, I think, also for able bodies, yes, to go around it. It's so much and it's so big. And the question if today we need this kind of big manifestation of art.
In the first place. I
Yes.
see. Yes.
So we can talk about like accessibility in a way to talk about like this huge event that many people are coming, throwing parties, which is great. It's great tradition. Everybody enjoy it. We are all
Yes.
here because we enjoy this tradition. But on the other hand, we try to propagate something else, and
Yes.
this doesn't work.
I see. Your comment about the nation in particular interests me because I think we live in a time where nationalism of all kinds are sort of making a resurgence and so on and so forth. And
In the end of 2000, we saw. I thought that nationalism we will keep it in the 20th century.
Yes.
That it will not come with us to the 21st, but it seems to be
Like
totally.
globalization would finalize its process in a way, right?
Yes, but we can see, like we can sense with the European Union, when the Union was established, then you could see that each one of the country tried to resist in different ways. So the
Yes.
border were open, but each nation started to find, like, it's not just, it's again, immigrants or foreigner, if we go back to the topic. Yes, so it's not really working. When you open the
see.
border, sometimes it creates the counter.
I would.
You want to talk about the Israeli pavilion?
Yes, there we go. Question. I had another question for you about the political movements within the Biennale, particularly the closing of the Israeli pavilion and also the subsequent
Okay, I
manifestations.
have a question that I really, I will ask you. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to have all of us accreditation, right? We need
Yes.
to send our data, everything.
Yes.
And it was a demonstration.
Yes.
So those demonstrators got an accreditation,
Yes.
yes?
Probably.
They are professionals?
Yes.
They are professional
likely.
in the level that they will get accreditation, because accreditation also have, what you did in the past, not everyone, press come first, curator come last, last. So what do you think? It's something that I thought and I don't have a solution. So how the demonstrators enter if you need an accreditation? So they apply for accreditation to demonstrate in front of the Israeli pavilion?
Yes, it's probably at least like particular media outlets that.
Maybe it was a performance. Maybe they
It could be.
open.
It
yeah.
could be a performance. Yes.
We need to
We
search
need to
it.
think
It's
about it,
Yes, it's
actually.
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have to think about that question. And
Infiltrating, how
yes.
one can infiltrate to the
to the
Venice-
very press. Yes. And on the question of the Israeli pavilion, so this was followed. The closing of the Israeli pavilion was followed by these manifestations that you mentioned. So I'd like to see. How
I'm not
did you,
sure if it was follow. Maybe it was the initiate and uncomfortable that the curator
I
and
see.
the artist felt without the counter or the reaction to it.
Yes. but
Maybe
how-
it was genuine, something that they felt uncomfortable to represent Israel.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I
Yes.
don't have the answer,
That
but
could be.
I
But-
can imagine that one also feel uncomfortable to represent one own country
But how
in
do
certain
you see
situation.
that closure and that particular the form that the closure was made and the statement that was issued?
I think it was a bit too late.
Too late?
Yes, I think it had to come before. And it's not a question about, as I see it, yes?
Yes.
It's not a question just about, it's you, the one that was, the one that chose, yes, that was chosen to represent the country. This is what you take on yourself. It's
Yes.
not just to have an exhibition everywhere and anywhere else. It's one need to represent the state, and the question how one feel about representing the Israeli state at the moment.
Yes. So it was a late decision in your opinion?
Yes, the way I feel in relation to my own country.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I'm happy that they did it, because we didn't see so much reaction from the Israeli art scene in Israel, like
Yes.
all during the war on Gaza and the attack on Gaza. So I know that people felt uncomfortable and against it, but they didn't demonstrate it. So to demonstrate it here in Venice, I think it's good.
And are you
know.
optimistic about even this late engagement?
But I want to
that-
talk about something else. It's
Tell
not
me.
about just about time. So to my opinion, but my opinion, it's not.
Yes.
It's only my opinion. It's not really important in this sense. But there is something else which I think not many people think about. It's what they had to face now when they're coming back to Israel,
Yes.
right? So they sign an agreement with the state, and basically they
So
break
the consequences.
the consequences. No, they break the contract,
I
like
see.
a real contract, with the state. They break it. So what will happen with them? It's not just to be brave and to show solidarity. There is also consequences when you do this kind of act, and I think nobody really think about, because, what we see now with the support of Palestine, which is great and it's important, and it shows worldwide, support for Palestine. Some people have had to pay the price when they support in Palestine, and nobody really look at it, as it's look like. Yeah, of course, we need to be on the right side. But
Yes.
sometimes to be on the right side in the wrong place put
Yes.
you in uncomfortable situations. So I think in this sense they need to have a lot of support, that they, especially the artist that has a contract with the state, and she will going to face probably a court.
Against the state.
Yeah. No, the state will sue her.
Yeah, totally. And I'd like, on that same note, do you think that this type of manifestation can actually be a first step towards other manifestations from Israeli artists within their own country, or are you skeptical about it? How do you receive this? Do you think the
I don't
echoes
read the
of this-
future. I don't know. I don't read the future, and I'm not really living in Israel.
I see.
I live many years outside of Israel, and when I'm there, I'm
So
basically.
the scenario is unclear.
Yeah,
in a way.
I don't know. I don't know what people are.
Yes.
I hope yes.
Yes, we hope. To end things on a light note, tell us at least one of the shows that really was moving to you.
Okay. Wow. I saw so many today. No, I can't. It's like too much.
Perhaps more than one.
Yeah.
The choosing of one is very difficult.
No, like in general, like okay, which pavilion? The true?
Yeah.
The Egyptian pavilion. The Egyptian, like wild shaki. I
So-
like the Filipino pavilion
Yes.
very much. I like Mark's work. I like wild shaki.
Yes.
I think it's one of the most brilliant work that we see in the biennial. I think they're good pavilions. In the exhibition, I think it's hard to grasp
Yeah.
because you have so many artists. Some of them familiar to me from the time I work in Brazil. Some of them familiar from the regional, more Middle East places. But it's in this sense, it's quite one need, I think, to process what one saw in the exhibition.
Okay.
But I think the Arsenale was quite pleasant, or I would say I enjoyed very much to go around the Arsenal in general,
I
like to
see.
see the exhibition. Like this was,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank
good.
you so much, Galit.